anyone who thinks games are bad for you is a fucking idiot.
Hey everybody, Max Scoville here for my review of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I'm terribly overdressed. I feel like I should be wearing a Hawaiian shirt of some sort. But without further ado, Blood Dragon. Blood Dragon.
Mark 4 style, motherfucker!
If you've missed the incredibly bizarre and unconventional promotional materials and coverage of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, let me get you up to speed. It is a $15 downloadable spin-off of Far Cry 3. It's a standalone title, so you don't need a copy of Far Cry 3 to play it. If you're concerned that the plot won't make any sense because you haven't played Far Cry 3, don't worry, because story-wise it has nothing to do with Far Cry 3, and it doesn't make any sense either way. In Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, players take on the role of Sergeant Rex Power Colt, a Mark IV cyber commando. Rex is voiced by 80s action movie laureate Michael Biehn, star of such 80s action classics as Terminator, Aliens, and Navy SEALs, which are just a few of the films that Blood Dragon either pays homage to or shamelessly rips off, depending on your perspective.
Let's show them how cyber commandos get it done.
Blood Dragon is set in the distant, far-off futuristic future year of 2007, when nuclear war has ravaged the Earth and left everything all messed up. Rex is sent to a mysterious island because the evil organization known as Omega Force has missiles or something, I guess. And after finding out that his old commanding officer Sloan has gone crazy and is behind the evil plan to destroy the already mostly destroyed Earth or whatever he's doing, it's up to Rex to run around on this island killing dudes and blowing stuff up to stop him. If it sounds like I'm glossing over the plot of Blood Dragon or that I'm making it sound really contrived and stupid, I'm not. The game is actually really contrived and stupid. But that's totally okay, because it isn't a game that puts emphasis on immersion or character development or realism or pushing the boundaries of video games as a ludonarrative medium. This is a game that's very much about the opposite of those things. No, seriously, here's a slide from a presentation that I was shown when they announced the game. Now, intentionally making a stupid game that's also a good game is easier said than done, and making a game that successfully satirizes the stupid elements in games is even trickier. For example, having the main character fire off a snarky one-liner about how they hate shitty block puzzles, while the player is actually forced to do a shitty block puzzle, doesn't actually excuse that shitty block puzzle. Thankfully, Blood Dragon never goes down this path, with the exception of possibly the most hilariously patronizing tutorial in video game history.
I fucking hate tutorials.
Blood Dragon has the same guts as Far Cry 3, and though it's cheaper, brighter, and stupider, it still plays mostly the same, which is awesome. It's an open-world first-person shooter that can be played as a stealth game. Players are granted cash and experience by completing story missions and liberating outposts, which are now called garrisons in Blood Dragon. The garrisons are considerably larger than the outposts were in Far Cry 3, and at these garrisons there are vending machines where weapons can be purchased and upgraded, as well as activity cabinets, which contain side quests of either the assassination or hostage rescue variety.
You saved me! Huzzah!
Now, Blood Dragon is a smaller game, and because of this, certain systems have been streamlined. For instance, instead of picking new skills from a skill tree, Rex is given new abilities as he levels up. I was totally okay with this because it meant less time looking at menus. One thing I didn't like, however, was that in order to purchase certain weapon upgrades, they have to be unlocked by completing certain activities that can't be started until you liberate the garrison that has the specific activity cabinet in it. It's a minor complaint, but it complicates the process of making my machine gun go from a regular machine gun to a machine gun that shoots lasers, and that's more tedious than fun.
Are you kidding me?
You are not the punchline. You are a killing machine.
However, not all weapon upgrade unlocks are dependent on specific missions, and the ones that aren't are pleasantly streamlined. Hunting and crafting, for instance, have been combined into a sort of deranged reverse Noah's Ark, with perks being awarded as you go around killing 2 of every animal on the island. A bunch of the animals in Far Cry 3 have returned, except they've been slightly reimagined to fit the new setting. Some of the wildlife includes cyber sharks, evil goats, mutant cassowaries, and regular boars that somebody spray-painted Sloan sucks onto. Sadly, there are no bears. I was very upset by this. I was very sad to learn that all the bears, apparently in Blood Dragon lore, died out during the nuclear war. However, as the title would suggest, there are blood dragons. Blood dragons are tough as shit giant mutant dinosaurs who are extremely aggressive and can also shoot lasers out of their eyes. Thankfully, they're also extremely nearsighted, so they won't bother you as long as you stay crouched. They change color depending on how pissed off they are, so if they're green, you're cool, but if they start turning red, you might want to book it. The blood dragons are attracted to the smell of cyborg hearts, which you can rip out of downed enemies and then throw to use as bait. The Omega Force garrisons scattered around the island are all guarded by force fields called Mega Shields, which you can get through just fine yourself, but which keep the blood dragons out. These shields can be disabled either by blowing up the generator or hitting the off switch, and the noise of a mega shield being deactivated will attract all the nearest blood dragons, who will then come running into the compound and eating the soldiers within. If for some reason this doesn't sound fun to you, then I apologize, because that means that I'm not doing my job right. It's fun as shit. It's all the delightful chaos of letting a bear out of its cage in Far Cry 3, except instead of a bear, it's a giant dragon that shoots lasers out of its eyes and literally eats people. It's completely ridiculous, and it's fucking awesome. You know, there's a lot of great stuff in this game. There's a lot of awesome stuff in this game, and instead of going to like weird, minute, technical detail about it, I'm just gonna list some of the awesome stuff that's in this game, and you guys can judge for yourselves what you think of it. For starters, you get RoboCop's gun, which is pretty cool because it's RoboCop's gun. Second, all the enemies have text-to-speech engine robot voices, so it's like you're fighting a bunch of Stephen Hawking.
Surrender. You don't have a chance.
They also have glow-in-the-dark blood, so it's like somebody broke open a glow stick whenever you shoot them in the face. On top of that, Power Glove does the soundtrack, and it's like somebody's melting a Sega Genesis scented candle into your ear the whole time you're playing. And whenever you hit the melee button and there's nothing around to melee, you just give things the middle finger. How long have I waited for a game where you can just give stuff the middle finger? On top of all of that, the game has one of the most awkward sex scenes since Team America World Police, which I, for one, am pretty happy about, but I'm glad that nobody walked by while I was playing it. However, because we live in a world where people don't always appreciate awesome things, I know that crappy internet babies are going to whine about some aspects of Blood Dragon. The campaign is noticeably shorter, and it can be completed in probably an afternoon. The map's also a bit smaller. It's about the size of the second island from Far Cry 3. And hey, there's no day or night cycle, and everything's red all the time. The world doesn't feel quite as expansive because of stuff like this. There's also no co-op and there's no multiplayer or level editor, but let's keep this in perspective. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is a $15 downloadable game. Ubisoft could have released $15 worth of DLC for Far Cry 3 that stayed in familiar territory and tried to flesh out characters that nobody was really particularly invested in to begin with, but instead they seemed to realize that Far Cry 3 was at its best when it was the most absurd, so they went absolutely balls to the wall, full bore, B-movie retarded, and they actually pulled it off. Far Cry 3 was hands down my favorite game of 2012, and Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon managed to take what I loved about it and turn it into something bizarre and new, somehow doing so at the quarter of a price. I applaud the people who made this game for taking a few risks and getting weird, and I hope it pays off because I want to see more games do stuff like this. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon gets a 5 out of 5, and if you won't spend 15 bucks on this goddamn game, I hope a bully steals the money from you and buys it for himself. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's a $15 game. It's doing a lot of things I wish more games would. It's weird, it tries new things, and it's 15 bucks. So, you know, roll the dice, take a shot, and if you like it and you haven't played Far Cry 3, go check that out. Or go check out my review of Far Cry 3, which is right here on this channel. Anyway, I'm Max Scoville for Rev3 Games. Check out the rest of our video game coverage. It has less lasers and dinosaurs, but it's still pretty okay. I'll see you guys around.